Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom.
Oh, it's our favorite unit, at least for me. I like food, too, but I love the travel units. And I know this is terrible to admit, Tom. I've been here, 15 years, and then I was here a long time ago for a couple years. I've never been to Green Island or Orchid Island. I'm terrible.
Wow, you probably haven't been to Jinmen or Matsu or Penghu either. Although I think you did say you went to Xiaoliuqiu before, right? The one off Kaohsiung, the one down there, Pingdong.
No.
Wow.
I need to go traveling. I know.
Yeah, I still want to go to Jinmen. I haven't been there, and Matsu. Those are the only offshore islands that I haven't really been to. But I have been to Orchid Island, Green Island, Penghu. They're great places to go to. Lots of foreigners who live in Taiwan want to travel to exotic foreign lands, but they don't explore Taiwan so much. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to explore Taiwan's extraordinary offshore islands, Waidao offshore islands, which, of course, include the ones we just mentioned, Green Island, Orchid Island, etc., etc. So let's get to it. Let's find out what this is all about. Let's read the entire contents of our lesson now at one time. If you're keen for an escape from your busy life in the city, one of Taiwan's offshore islands might be the perfect choice for your next travel destination. Two particularly stunning must-sees are Green Island and Orchid Island, which are sure to impress travelers with their rich histories, marvelous natural sights, and cultural artifacts. Start with Green Island. This lush location is an appealing place for those interested in Taiwan's political past. Well known for its role during the White Terror, the island was once used as a place of exile for political prisoners. Over 36 years, more than 20,000 prisoners were shipped to Green Island. Once released, many of these activists joined forces to establish the Democratic Progressive Party. Today, the island's prison facilities remain as a human rights park and serve as a popular attraction for many of the 300,000 tourists that visit the island annually. Beyond the island's significant past, another one of its attractions is its unique hot springs. In fact, Green Island boasts one of the only 3 seawater hot springs across the globe. Not only do the springs' open-air pools face the ocean toward a peaceful view to accompany your soak, but their crystal-clear water lacks the sulfur smell produced by many hot springs, which some guests are sensitive to. Those seeking adventure shouldn't miss experiencing the Shilang diving area. Under the glassy waters, snorkelers and divers can marvel at the world's largest Porites coral, the big mushroom believed to be over 1,200 years old. The waters are also home to a number of brightly colored tropical fish.
Okay, guys, we're going to get busy and start exploring Taiwan's extraordinary offshore islands. When we use this word offshore, you know that it's not part of the main continent of a country. So sometimes you'll hear people in the news started using an offshore bank account, which means they're putting their money in a place that the country can't get to. Or offshore drilling for oil and gas. That will be done in the ocean somewhere. So offshore islands, these are islands that you actually have to either fly to. I don't think you could swim to them. I guess if you're a great swimmer, I wouldn't do that. But you'll have to take a boat, a ship, or fly. But these are some extraordinary offshore islands that we're going to talk about both today and in our next program.
Yes, indeed, we are. So let's get to it. Here's the first part of our lesson. If you're keen for an escape from your busy life in the city, one of Taiwan's offshore islands might be the perfect choice for your next travel destination. It might just do the trick. So if you're keen for something, you could also say if you're keen on doing something, which means if you want to do this, if this is something you really want to do. So if you're keen for an escape, if you want to escape your busy life in the city, whether it's Taichung or Kaohsiung or Geelong or Taipei. Yeah, I want to get out of this rat race. I'm tired of the traffic and the pollution and the rude people and working overtime. I need an escape. I need to go someplace that's peaceful, tranquil, and quiet. Well, the offshore islands might be your perfect choice. They are indeed great places to get away from it all.
Now, we're calling them a stunning must-sees. So, must-see has a hyphen between these two words. It's often used nowadays to talk about either a movie or a tourist attraction or, maybe just a beautiful piece of art, architecture perhaps. If it's a must-see, you can't miss it. You don't want to miss it. It's so wonderful. And stunning is quite beautiful. When you see something that's really great, it's almost like somebody shocked you. You're stunned. It's so impressive or attractive. You can call people stunning. Maybe someone's really dressed up for a big party, or maybe they're going to a ball. They have an evening gown on or a tux. They probably look stunning. Or, wow, what a stunning dress, you could say. So these are must-sees. If you're here, especially in Taiwan because they're so close to us, Green Island and Orchid Island. And it says here, they're sure to impress travelers with their rich histories. Rich here does not mean money, guys. Rich is often used to talk about something that's very deep. There's a lot of history there. If you're talking about chocolate and you say that chocolate is rich, it's dark usually. It's not just milk chocolate. It's very dark chocolate. Rich just means there's a lot to see, do. It's kind of cool to go look at these. We're saying they're marvelous natural sights. And there are also some cultural artifacts on these islands that you can check out. Marvelous, Tom? How do you define marvelous?
Marvelous. Well, gee, how do you explain that? Marvelous, wonderful, fantastic, awesome. We have all sorts of words to describe things that are really, really great. Think of Marvel Comics, marvelous. Right. Marvel just means it's a marvel, it's a miracle, it's something really great. Really good, really pleasing. So yes, marvelous just means really great. I guess we would use this to talk about things in the natural world. Marvelous natural scenery in the central mountain range, for example.
Yeah, it's not the first adjective I would use for something. I'd probably use fantastic first. Oh, wow, it's so great. But marvelous is used quite often, so you definitely want to add it to your vocabulary. Now, an artifact, guys, is something that is made by people. I mean, usually we describe objects that were made long ago and maybe were discovered when someone was digging below the ground. Maybe somebody's finding really old artifacts, like an archaeologist is a scientist who digs below ground to see how people long, long ago used to live. Go to museums, a lot of times they'll have artifacts. These are cultural artifacts. So the things that you'll see are all related to the culture of the people who used to live there long ago.
Lots of artifacts are on display at the Palace Museum in Taipei, for example, from the Qing Dynasty or whenever. So yes, indeed, if you're into cultural artifacts or natural sites or marvelous scenery, then these offshore islands are for you. Now, here in the next paragraph, it says, start with Green Island. This lush location is an appealing place for those interested in Taiwan's political past. Now, many years ago, of course, I took a trip with my then-girlfriend's company, and they did a group tour of both Orchid Island and Green Island, okay? So you can do it either way. We went to Orchid Island first by airplane, and then we took a boat from there to Green Island. And we all got really seasick.
Ooh.
And then we took a plane back from Green Island to Taidong again. But in this particular instance, our itinerary begins with Green Island. So let's describe Green Island. This lush location is an appealing place for anyone who's interested in the political past of Taiwan. So lush, of course, just means there's lots of plants, lots of greenery, lots of trees, lots of tropical vegetation.
Lots of rain.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Indeed, Green Island does have a lot of vegetation, although not much more than the rest of Taiwan.
Taiwan's beautiful.
I guess it kind of depends on your perception of that. But indeed, if you're interested in politics, it's the place for you. The difference between Green Island and Lanyu, or Orchid Island, is that Orchid Island has the Aboriginal tribe there. The Yamizu, they used to call them. Now it's the Da'u people.
So, yeah, these are two places that are really appealing. Appealing is just very attractive to people. wow, what an appealing person she is. Or, wow, I just got back from Spain. It was so appealing to tourists there. The food there is great. So it's an appealing place because it's not only lush, which means lots of green is there, but it's also very interesting because of Taiwan's political past. It's well known for its role, the part it played during the White Terror. If you look up White Terror, you discover that it was a period of time in Taiwan when political dissidents, those are people who disagree with the government, were actually put into prison, and they weren't able to just freely express their opinions. Actually, that's happening more and more around the world where you're no longer able to speak freely, so be careful. But that was a period of time that is well known. That was White Terror, and it lasted for quite a while. And the island, Green Island, was the place where these political dissidents, those that disagreed with the government, were put, and we're calling it a place of exile. Usually, if someone is exiled, and that's the verb right there, it means they're sent away from their native land or they're locked up because of something they've done that has made the government very angry.
Right, to be exiled is the verb phrase that we use quite often, but exile here, of course, is the noun, a place of exile.
Right.
Like Napoleon was exiled to some island somewhere, I can't remember where it was. But in any case, that was the case for Green Island. In over 36 years, more than 20,000 prisoners were shipped to Green Island, and they were in prison there. And indeed, nowadays, of course, I think the prison is no longer there. But they do have a very fine museum commemorating the prison there. The original prison is still there. You can go on a tour there. It's worth seeing. It's worth checking out. So indeed, you can spend some time there. Take pictures, pretend you're a prisoner or whatever. And try to imagine what it was like back in those days. Okay, we'll continue talking about Green Island in just a couple of seconds, but right now we're going to take a break and listen to our Chinese teacher.
Hello everyone, my name is Tina. 今明2天我们要介绍2个台湾的 offshore islands， 也就是离岛，它们都是很棒的旅游景点。首先来看到在第一段的最后一句提到Two particularly stunning must-sees are Green Island and Orchid Island, which are sure to impress travelers with their rich histories, marvelous natural sights, and cultural artifacts. 在这里提到的2个特别令人惊叹的 must-sees 必游之地，就是绿岛跟兰屿。在英文，它们分别被称为 Green Island 还有 Orchid Island。那么补充说明，所以我们打了逗号 which are sure to 这2个地方呢，肯定会以其丰富的历史、非凡的自然景观以及呢文化的工艺品，让你留下深刻的印象。在这里，我们用了 impress 这个动词，解释成为给某人很深的印象，常常用被动来表达。譬如说 I was very impressed by his story， 指的呢就是他的故事深深的打动了我。另外一种说法 The woman impressed me most unfavorably， 就是解释成为这个女人啊，她给我的印象其实是极差的。继续往下面看第2段，首先要从 Green Island 开始说起。第2段的第3个句子提到Well known for its role during the White Terror, the island was once used as a place of exile for political prisoners. 在这里提到的 well known for 也就是以什么而有名， for 表示原因。绿岛之有名呢，正是因为它在白色恐怖时期中的作用。白色恐怖英文叫做 The White Terror。这个岛屿呢，一度被用来是当作政治犯的流放地点。Exile 当作名词，有流放、流亡的意思。举例来说，他曾经流亡多年，你就可以说 He spent many years in exile.
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. guys, welcome back. We're talking about some extraordinary offshore islands that are right here near the big island of Taiwan. We've started with Green Island. We described it to you. It's very green, and a lot of people like to go because they're also interested in Taiwan's political past. It's well known for the role it played during the White Terror. The island was once used as a place of exile for political prisoners. And actually, it was just a prison that they had there. And if you made the government mad, you were shipped out or exiled to this particular prison. Now, over 36 years, more than 20,000 prisoners were shipped to Green Island. That's quite a few prisoners that were held during this long period of White Terror.
Probably not all at once, but, over time, the amount totaled over 20,000. And once released, when they were out of prison, many of these activists joined forces to establish the DPP, or Democratic Progressive Party. An activist, of course, is somebody who's active in some kind of movement.
Social movement, political movement.
Indeed. So they were activists. They thought this was an injustice. We can't put up with that. We need to form our own political party. So they set it up. They established the DPP. To establish here just means to organize and set it all up, and then you can be active and start, running for office.
Yeah, you could establish an office, establish a business. You can set up a lot of things. They established, as Tom said, the DPP, as a lot of people refer to this particular party today. Well, now or today, the island's prison facilities remain as a human rights park. So they've taken the facilities, the different buildings, all make up the facilities of a place. And they've turned it into a human rights park. So they're trying to really celebrate human rights there now because there were no human rights long ago. And it serves as a popular attraction, and we're talking about tourist attraction right now, for many of the 300,000 tourists that visit the island annually or every year. It's quite a few tourists that like to go over there. Now, there are different kinds of tourist attractions. It could be something that's a natural scenic view, could have something to do with history, and maybe it's a museum, or even a Disneyland or an ocean park where they have rides for kids. Those are also attractions.
Indeed, there's a little town there with restaurants and clubs and things like that.
Cool.
And B&Bs and things like that.
Lots of seafood, maybe?
Absolutely, stuff like that. And tasty restaurants.
Cool.
And friendly people and stuff like that. So, indeed, lots of people go there every year. Now, beyond the island's significant past, another one of its attractions is its unique hot springs. We all like those. Taiwan has those hot springs all over the place. In fact, Green Island boasts one of the only 3 seawater hot springs in the world across the globe.
Wow.
So here, boast as a verb does not refer to somebody who's bragging. Hey, I've been to so many countries. I've got so much money. I own so many expensive cars. That's boasting or bragging. But in this particular case, to boast just means it has this thing that's really great, and a lot of people are attracted to it.
Yeah, and it's a source of pride for a city or maybe a country. I like to say that Taiwan boasts the best beef noodle soup anywhere. It has the best. Or Taiwan boasts the friendliest citizens around the globe. You guys are really great to tourists who come here. In particular, you've been nice to me and to Tom, I know. So we love that. So here, it boasts one of the only 3 seawater hot springs across the globe. Now, this I did not know. I know that Taiwan has a lot of hot springs, but what's different about this is the hot springs we're talking about are actually made up of, or they consist of seawater, water from the ocean, which is interesting. We use globe to talk about the earth, I should say, or the world, but you can also use globe if you have the actual rounded object that actually is, a replica of the world because it's round. It's in a sphere shape. That's the globe. We had a globe in my classroom when I was in, I think, 3rd grade. And we love to play with the globe. But here it just is another way you can say the earth.
Indeed, and not only do the springs' open-air pools face the ocean toward a peaceful view to accompany your soak, but their crystal clear water lacks the sulfur smell produced by many hot springs, which some guests are sensitive to. Yeah, so like I said, I was at Green Island many years ago. I don't think it was developed yet. You could go down to the beach there and stick your hand in these pools
and
feel how hot the water was.
Cool.
But I think they've developed it now where you can actually take a soak in the hot springs. You'd have to do some research on that, but it's great there because you can have an ocean view, a peaceful view of the ocean while you're soaking in the hot spring. And the nice thing about this is that they don't have that sulfur smell. If you go up to Yangmingshan, you can smell that sulfur all over the place. And the smell of that sometimes can make people sick, or they might want to throw up. It smells kind of like rotten eggs, basically. And yeah, you might be sensitive to that smell. If you're sensitive to something, that means it might cause an allergic reaction. You might get sick or something, or get a rash, or throw up.
Yeah, some people are sensitive to the sun. So if they're in the sun, their skin will have little bumps all over it. I'm sensitive to dogs and cats' fur. Ugh, can't breathe if they're around. Although I love dogs. So moving on to the last paragraph here, it says, those seeking adventure, a lot of fun, shouldn't miss experiencing the Shillong diving area. If you're into snorkeling or deep-sea diving, scuba diving, you might want to check this out. Under the glassy waters, snorkelers and divers can marvel at the world's largest porite coral called, and it's got little quotation marks around it, the big mushroom. It's kind of its nickname. Believed to be over 1,200 years old. That sounds fun. Glassy water just means the surface of the water is very still, very calm, and it's almost like looking into a mirror. It's so smooth.
And a snorkeler is somebody who just does diving just with that breathing tube. And so if you know how to swim, you can probably do that. You don't have to take any special training like you would if you wanted to go scuba diving.
True.
So yeah, you can just go snorkeling there and you can see that coral there. And, of course, you can see lots of colorful fish and stuff like that. As it says in the final sentence, it says the waters are also home to a number of brightly colored tropical fish. Now, I have, wanted to do that when I went there, but I just didn't have the opportunity. I didn't have the time. But I met another guy who said it's really great there. If you can go snorkeling at Green Island, it's definitely worth doing because, yeah, the fish are really colorful. And I understand that the fish are not afraid of people, so they'll swim really close to you.
Cool.
And it will be quite an experience. So we're talking about the waters here, the areas in the ocean around Green Island. They're home to all this tropical fish. If something is home to something, that means that's what is in this area. These things are native to that area.
Yeah, that's where they live, so it sounds like a great place. Snorkeling isn't hard. You just have to remember to not breathe in if your pipe or your little tube goes underneath the water. I've done that before. So this sounds like one of the islands you might want to put on your list of places to see. It's definitely on my list of places to see. I just need to get out and play a little more.
And we've been discussing Green Island, but I think we're going to get to Orchid Island in our next program.
We
so
are.
Make sure you join us then, but you're going to have to tune in then to hear our description of Orchid Island. And that brings us to the end of our program for today. But before we say goodbye, we need to hear from our Chinese teacher.
第二段的最后一个句子提到 Today, the island's prison facilities remain as a human rights park and serve as a popular attraction for many of the 300,000 tourists that visit the island annually. 那么到了今天呢，绿岛的这些 prison facilities 监狱的设施呢，依然还存在着，不过 as 当作是一个人权公园，而且作为每年呢大概有30万名游客造访的一个热门景点之一。首先我们来看一下 annually 在这里当作副词，指的就是每年的，而 attraction 本来指的是吸引或者是吸引力。举例来说， Detective novels used to hold a special attraction for me， 指的是呢以前侦探小说对我来讲特别有吸引力。不过谈到旅游，我们常常呢讲到的 attraction 指的也就是 tourist attraction， 也就是旅游景点的意思。接着我们来看到在第三段第二个句子提到了这个岛屿的历史，还有它的其他的温泉的特色。 In fact, Green Island boasts one of the only 3 seawater hot springs across the globe， 绿岛拥有全球仅有的3座海底温泉当中的一座。这里的 boast 不是解释成为吹嘘，而是解释成为以拥有什么而自豪。举例来说，我们学校的图书馆以藏有好多的珍本书而自豪，你就可以说 Our school library boasts quite a few rare books。 所以呢，绿岛拥有这个全球3座海底温泉当中的一座而自豪。而最后一段提到的就是石朗潜水区 The Shillong Diving Area。 在最后一段的第二个句子提到 Under the glassy waters, snorkelers and divers can marvel at the world's largest porite coral, the big mushroom, believed to be over 1,200 years old。在这种明净的水面下 glassy 就像玻璃一样的透明，在这水面下呢，浮潜者跟潜水员呢，可以对于世界最大的微孔珊瑚，也就称之为大香菇而感到惊叹。我们首先来看到 marvel 就是有感到惊讶的意思，对什么人感到惊讶，你就可以说 marvel at somebody。Everyone marveled at his courage， 指的就是人人都对他的勇气惊叹不已。而这些珊瑚称之为 the big mushroom， 后面的 believed 前面省略掉了 which is， 这些珊瑚呢，一般相信它的寿命已经有1200多年了。 OK， 以上就是今天的课文讲解，谢谢收听。
That's it, guys. Day 1 of our travel unit is behind us. As Tom said, we're going to be talking about beautiful Orchid Island in our next program. We hope you'll join us then. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.